Abigail Chimuka is a respected voice in Zambia's legal community. With nearly 2 decades of experience, she's made her mark through her sharp mind, steady leadership, and unwavering commitment to doing the right thing. As a co-founder of Abigail Chama Advocates, she has helped shape how the law is practiced in Zambia, bringing integrity, excellence, and care to every client she works with. Beyond her titles and her rankings, Abigail is a woman who believes deeply in ethics, reputation, and building a legacy that uplifts others. Today, we take a seat at the table with her to talk about where it all started, how law became her path, and what she believes really matters in life and leadership.
So that's quite a loaded question. My childhood was very different. I grew up in a family of a lot of girls. So when you grow up with siblings, girls mostly, it's a lot of work, a lot of thinking, a lot of scheming, a lot of playing mind games, right? Because it's sisters. So you're stealing each other's clothes, you're stealing each other's books. So I think that in itself led me to where I am now, because it's skills I developed then that I use to this day. I'm a very deep thinker. A lot of people say I have a catastrophic personality, which just means I overthink a lot of things. But it's coming from the way I grew up with my sisters, yeah. But so I started my childhood in Ndola. I started my primary school in Ndola, and then we moved to Lusaka when I was in grade 6. Thereafter, I did my secondary school, grade 8 and 9. I did it at Roma Girls. Then I did 1 year, grade 10, at Kasisi Girls. And then I went to Mpelembe for my grade 11 and 12. Thereafter, I went to Unza, where I studied law. I did law, and I graduated in 2006. And then I went to Ziali. I was called to the bar in 2008. And I worked at one law firm from 2006, because I started working when I was in my 3rd year. So I started working at a law firm called Musa Dudi and Company. For those that know it, it's one of the biggest law firms, and one of the oldest law firms actually in Zambia, older than Zambia, because it was started before independence. So I worked for this firm until 2020, when I decided to leave and set up my own practice. So I ran a practice called Abigail Chama Advocates. I'm a co-founder and partner in that firm. I founded it with Gilbert Chama. I chose law not because of anything in particular. My father is a lawyer, but he was not the person that inspired me to do law. I used to go to his office, but I didn't know what he did. I just knew that he was a lawyer, but I never knew exactly what he did as a lawyer. I think I was more inspired to do law by the books that I read. I read a lot of books, and at the time, I think in my secondary school, I read a lot of John Grisham books, and a lot of them are legal books. So I think I was inspired to do law by those books. And then another inspiration that people laugh at me about was the suits. I used to see lawyers wearing all these fancy suits, and I said, I want to wear those suits as well. So that was a big motivator to do law, yeah. Like I said before, my dad was a lawyer, but he was not the one that inspired me to do law. I would say my mother. My mother is a fighter of rights. She's an educationalist, so she believes she supports girls' education, and she's just one of those people who believes in justice. And she told me a story about how she also wanted to be a lawyer when she was young, but due to circumstances, she couldn't study law. So for me, it was a very inspiring story, and I decided to do law because of that. My parents divorced in 2001. I had just finished my grade 12. And it was a big shift for my family because my siblings and I moved with my mom, and it was a growing up stage for me. I had to now become the co-parent to my mom. I'm the oldest of my mom's children. I had to become a co-parent. And this is what actually led me to start working quite early. I started working in my third year so that I could help out with some of the bills at home. So that was a big shift for me. And it was a point where I realized I can't play like my friends anymore. I can't go clubbing as much as I want to because now I have this responsibility of helping my mom to look after my siblings. Another incident that I can think of is in 2020. Well, no, before that actually. I made partner at the law firm that I talked about, Musa Dudian Company, when I was very young. Well, young relatively. I had just turned 30 when I made partner, which is relatively young for lawyers. So it was a law firm that was predominantly a male-dominated law firm, and I was the first female to make partner. So that was a very big turning point in my life, in that I had now to start making all these decisions that I didn't make before. I had to start doing things that I didn't do before that now were more on an employer point of view than from an employee point of view. The last incident would be 2020, when I decided to leave my job and to set up my own firm. So this point, if you remember, all of you, 2020 was the start of COVID. So in May 2020, that's when I set up my firm, and that was the beginning and peak of COVID, as in the world shut down. So for me, it was a bold move that I made. I don't regret it to this day. Yeah. The things I would pick out that stand out to me as the key issues that you must do to build a strong reputation is integrity. Integrity is key, especially in my profession, right? In the legal profession, you need to have integrity in all you do. As you know, as lawyers, your word is your bond. So a lot of people will trust you based on your integrity. You need to have the trust of your peers. You need to have the trust of your team. You need to have the trust of your clients, as well as the trust of the judges for those that do litigation. So I think integrity is really a key in building a strong reputation and a good brand as a lawyer. The second thing that stands out to me is discipline. When you're starting out, law is one of those professions where you come into money quite at a young age. You make good money at a really young age. And if you don't have discipline, it's very easy for you to go astray. It's very easy for you to now touch clients' money. You hear of all these cases of lawyers that have been suspended. It's the lack of discipline. You don't have discipline to stay within your lane, to live within your means. You always want to outdo the next person. You want to do this and that. But if you live within your means, you will go far as a lawyer. The third point I would pick out is consistency. You need to be consistent with your work. You need to be consistent with everything that you do. The quality of your work shouldn't differ just because you're representing a high-profile client and a low-profile client. The quality of work should be the same. The delivery should be the same. Your responsiveness to that client should be the same. I know a lot of people who, when they're dealing with a big transaction, they forget all about all the other cases, right? But every client is the same. Every client is that person who's going to talk about you in the next room. So you need to be consistent with the way you deal with your clients. For me, I think those are the three things that are key. That's a tough one. I think one of the things that keeps me really grounded is my family. I have a good family. I come from a really good family. I have nice sisters. I have a good mother. So they keep me grounded. No matter how high I seem to be flying, they're the people that will always come to me and say, Abby, look at this way, look at this way. So I think my family plays a really key role in me being grounded. The next thing is my team at the office. I have a really good team. I have a really good partner who we work well together, we gel well together, and he's able to tell me when I'm doing wrong things, and I'm able to tell him the same thing. So the team that I work with is really good, and as well as my family. I think those are the two things. Yeah. So your whole reputation is based on your ethics. As lawyers, we actually learn this course at CIALI. It's course number 1, ethics. So it's a big thing in the legal profession to be a person of high moral ethics, high integrity, and I spoke about it earlier. As lawyers, of course, your word is your bond. So if you're not a person of high ethics, of high moral standards, it's very easy for you to lose your reputation. You have spent so many years at UNZA or wherever you studied law. You have struggled at CIALI only for you to lose your practicing certificate because you are lacking in ethics. So ethics is a really big thing, and it shouldn't just be because someone is watching. You need to be a person of high moral standards, whether someone is watching or not. I read a book recently by Paulo Coelho. It's called The Devil and Miss Prim. It's a really good book, and if you know Paulo Coelho, he's very philosophical. So this book, it tries to figure out, are people generally good, or are people only good because you fear something greater? For instance, you fear going to hell, right? So, and in that book, it basically says human beings are generally good, and it doesn't matter what's happening around them. They're generally good. They're only influenced by a certain circumstance that influences them to do wrong. And all of us encounter these issues, right? You encounter someone who wants to bribe you. You encounter someone who wants to make you do something that's ethically wrong. You have the decision, you have the power to say no, because the alternative is so much worse. If you do that, your reputation is gone. You might end up in jail. You might lose your practicing certificate. I think the repercussions of a short time pleasure is really great. I think I've spoken about this already. You need to be a trustworthy person. You need to be a trustworthy person as a lawyer, because you are dealing with multiple stakeholders. Firstly, it's your team. Your team need to be able to trust you. What you say, you should do. The second thing is your clients. Your clients are a big component of your career. Your clients need to trust you. You know, as lawyers, we deal with a lot of money on behalf of clients. A client is buying a property, an asset, a big asset. So we can have millions sitting in our accounts. The client should be able to trust that Abigail won't touch this money, that when the money is ready to be paid out, it will be there. So this is a big thing, as well as your colleagues. Your colleagues need to be able to trust you. We get instances where you have a court hearing and your colleague calls you to say, please, when you get to court, I'm not able to make it because I have a family emergency. Please, when you get to court, adjourn the matter for me. If you're a trustworthy person, you go and adjourn the matter. But a lot of lawyers, you find, they get to court and they're like, he didn't call me. I don't know anything about this. And the matter goes on without the other lawyer there, even though the person had told you. So in that instance, people stop trusting you. So even when they can't send you work, they can't refer work to you. And as lawyers, a lot of our work is referral work. We get a lot of work referred to us from other law firms, from other lawyers. So if they can't trust you, no one can send you work. Even judges have lawyers they don't trust. So you need to be that person who's trustworthy. So when I worked in my previous firm, it was a firm that was already established. Like I said, it was established way before independence. So everything was set in terms of the accounting procedures, the tax, the way they do the tax. So I didn't need to know all that. I was pretty much an employee. Even though I was a partner, I made partner, but I was an employee because I wasn't involved in the admin stuff. And it's a firm where the reputation had already been built over the years. So even business development was not a very big thing for them because clients came anyway. So when I set up my own law firm, I was starting from scratch. I had to go out and find my own lawyers. So it's helped me become more confident because I need to go and talk to people to get work from them. I need to sell myself to people. I need to sell the firm. I need to sell the services that we do. So it's increased my confidence. It's made me a different sort of leader because other than just looking after my team, I need to go out there and find work for them to do and to feed them. Right? I have a responsibility. And I was talking about it earlier. We are now a team of 17. That's a lot of people to look after. Yeah. So I have this responsibility to go out there and find the work. And the people management leadership sort of thing, it becomes bigger because now I'm managing a whole team with my partner, but this is just us managing this whole team. Whereas before we had an HR department, we had this and that, and we don't have that anymore. So I have to manage the different sort of personalities that I'm working with. I have to recruit people. I have to fire people. So it's growth. It's a tough growth, but it's a must. A lot of advice. I think the first one would be there's no cheat code. There's no cheat code to success. You have to do the work. You have to put in the work. You have to put in the hours. And unfortunately, it's a little bit worse for us females because I see it in my profession, right? The men lawyers, they meet up at football, they meet up at golf, they strike deals at golf. For us, it's not as easy for us to do that. We sort of have to do more work to get to where we want to be. Another thing I would advise is, and this I learned from a podcast I watched as a podcast by a guy called Sean Stevenson. I watched it at the time in 2013 when I just made partner. And I watched it because I was feeling I was feeling insecure, where you have been given this big position, but somehow you feel like maybe I don't deserve this, or it's because someone has made a comment about whether you actually deserve this. So I watched this podcast which says, the key taken there was, do not believe a prediction that does not empower you. And for me, I found this very powerful because I don't believe in the concept of haters. I always believe everyone is rooting for me to win. And I feel like everyone should have this personality, this attitude of thinking everyone is rooting for you to win. The moment you start thinking of, oh my God, or this person doesn't like me, or this person doesn't support my business, you will die. you would die emotionally, or even physically, you would die. So you need to have this attitude of no prediction. That is a negative prediction. You shouldn't believe any prediction that isn't empowering. Only believe predictions that are empowering. So if someone says, oh, you can't do this, oh, you can't, oh, you're not qualified to do this, do it. Do it anyway. The third advice I'd give to a young lawyer is try and do a lot of things. The first 5 years of your career are your formative years. Try and do a lot of things. Do your litigation, do your conveyancing, do mergers and acquisitions, do your banking and finance. Do as much as possible in your formative years. And then you will specialize as you get to your 5, 6 years. You can specialize after that. This makes you a more well-rounded lawyer. You will not be stuck in life, right? Because life happens. You can specialize right now to say, I'll only be doing banking and finance. And then in 10 years' time, who knows? The banking industry might disappear, right? We don't know. The world is the world as it is. So you need to be able to do everything else, so that if anything happens to whatever you've specialized in, if that thing is no longer a happening thing. I'll give an example of mining. A lot of lawyers like to do mining, but mining is up and down. So what happens if that's your only specialization? Then it means you're stuck. So you need to be able to do a lot of other things, so that when that thing that you're specialized in cannot be done, or is not a lucrative line of business anymore, you can do something else. So this is a big question, and it's a really good question. I want to see the legal profession build capacity to more than the capacity we have right now. We hear a lot of people saying, oh, there are too many lawyers, every court day, especially now, the court days have huge numbers. In my time, court days when you're called to the bar. In my time, you'd have 20 people called to the bar, 10 people, 15 people. So the numbers were really small. But now the numbers are more. You get a court day now, you can have 100 people being called to the bar. And still, we're not enough lawyers. I think as of now, we're still under 3,000 lawyers for a population which is hitting 20, right? So we still need the lawyers. We still need more lawyers in Zambia. It's just that I think we're all concentrated in Lusaka. Maybe that's why people feel, we've exhausted the market. But a lot of other places, if you go to Livingstone now, you struggle to find a lawyer. There are probably less than 10 lawyers in Livingstone. But all those are places that need lawyers. So there is no market saturation in law. We need more lawyers, but we need good lawyers. We need to build capacity to the extent that when big transactions are happening in Zambia, Zambian lawyers are doing those transactions. At the moment, what happens if, for instance, the government has a big transaction, or any of these big companies, when they're doing a big transactions, they'll go and hire lawyers in London or lawyers in South Africa, and those lawyers then find lawyers in Zambia to work with. So we play a supporting role to the international law firms, but we need to get to a stage where the transactions are coming to us and we outsource where we feel we need support from an international law firm. But the transaction should come to us first. We haven't yet gotten there, and I hope we can get there in the near future. The only way we can do this is by building our capacity. We need to show all these companies and the government itself that we can do transactions to that scale, and also that we are as qualified and as have the expertise that all these international law firms have. But we can't do this if we are not building our knowledge. We need to build our knowledge. We need to attend events, workshops, attend seminars where these transactions are being discussed, where these transactions are being finalized, right? So I think that's what we need to do as a legal profession. We need to build capacity so that we can do all these big transactions here. And what will that do for us? Money will be in Zambia. Right now, big money is paid to international law firms. So you find on a transaction, maybe the legal fees are like $500,000. Maybe $450,000 is being paid to an international law firm, while $50,000 is being paid to a Zambian law firm. But this is a transaction that's generated in Zambia. Yeah, we need to move from this. We need to build capacity.